Alright, so I'm here with my mom, Shelly, and I'm going to talk to her about high school in the 1980s. So, where did you go to high school?
Lafayette,
What year did you graduate?
1982.
Where was that at? Like, where was Lafayette?
It was in Ellisville.
How was your behavior in high school?
My behavior was pretty good in school. Outside of school, maybe not so good.
Well, that's to be expected. Have you ever been suspended?
No.
Were fights a common occurrence?
Not at all.
Not in Lafayette at all?
No.
What were the attitudes like in your school, like personalities and stuff?
Well, I think probably like your school has now, there were, what we called the socias, the jocks, the burnouts, the nerds, kind of those categories of people, but everybody was pretty laid back. I think that's why we didn't have a lot of fights going on.
Was it a bigger school?
Not really. I mean, we probably had about, I'm guessing, 1,200. But it was only 10th through 12th. We didn't have 9th grade in our high school.
What was the dress code like in your school?
But I don't even know if I knew what the dress code was, actually. I don't know if there was one. I guess there was, but...
Nothing too strict.
No.
What kind of clothes did you commonly wear?
Typically jeans and shirts, sweater, something along those lines. Pretty laid back, not anything super trendy.
What was your first job?
My first job was at A&W restaurant, working in the kitchen.
How was that?
It was fine. It was great. I mean, at one point we actually went on a float trip. It was like a company float trip, and kind of bonded with all the people that we worked with. I didn't work there very long. It was maybe 6 months, but it was a good first job.
Did you think you got some good experience out of it?
Yeah, I do.
How much were you paid? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly. I'm thinking somewhere around $3.25 an hour, maybe.
Yeah. So when did you get your first car?
I didn't get my first car until I was out of high school. I was probably 18 or 19 years old.
Do you remember what kind of car it was?
Oh, it was a no. It was a Cutlass. Yes, it was a Cutlass.
Oh, okay. What was your favorite band?
Back then, I would probably say Rush or Led Zeppelin.
How did you spend your free time?
Really just hanging out with friends.
Yeah, same here. How involved were you in high school, if any?
I was not involved at all.
Do you regret that at all, or do you think you got by the way you wanted to?
Well, I think I got by. But it probably would have been a better experience had I gotten involved.
Who was your favorite teacher?
I would say Miss Toomey. She was my ceramics teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She was, a little bit crazy, really nice, very creative thinking person. So she was really fun.
She made things interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. What did you fear as a teenager?
Not a lot. I think probably, standing out in the wrong way, being ridiculed would probably be like the main thing that probably most teenagers are afraid of, I guess, but that would probably be it.
Who was your best friend?
I think back in high school, I had two best friends. I'm not quite sure, the years that I was friends with them, but I had Michelle and Tina, which were both kind of, I would say, bad influences, and Tina ended up being the worst influence. We parted ways.
Yeah. I'm guessing you're not friends with
No.
any of them anymore.
No.
Do you have anything from the 80s still?
The only thing that I can think of that I might have from the 80s is probably my high school yearbook.
How was your high school experience as a whole?
I think it was pretty good. I mean, like I said, I wasn't really involved in a lot of stuff, but I had a lot of friends in a lot of different groups. All those groups that I talked about, the Socias and the Jacks and the, the nerds.
Sorry.
And I had friends in all those groups, so I was kind of, not in one or another.
What do you think you would have done differently? Would you get more involved? Would you be more outgoing?
Well, I probably would have gotten more serious about my grades earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I did really, really, really well in my senior year, but I had pretty easy classes, kind of like you do now. I probably would have tried a little harder in those earlier years to kind of get my grade point average up and, set my college years off better.
How popular would you consider yourself back in high school?
I would say probably less than moderate. Not really low, but I had some popular friends, and but I wouldn't say that I was extremely popular.
So you mingled with other
Yes.
groups?
Yeah.
How diverse was your community?
Actually, at the time, not at all. I think we had maybe 3 or 4 African Americans in our school. And at the time, I would say that, any other Asians or Hispanics, that was probably almost none.
What would you consider your greatest achievement in high school or in the 80s?
I was a pretty good student, but I did partake in some things, skipping school and things like that. That I guess probably, graduating with a pretty good GPA and never getting detention is probably a good thing to.
I agree. Yeah. Were you ready to move on to college? Like, were you happy to get out of high school?
I was, but as you know, I regret not going away to school. I went to community college, and then I went to UMSL, and it wasn't the same experience that I hope you're going to have.
Yeah. All right. Well, that concludes the interview with somebody that graduated in the 80s. Was it 1982?
1982.
1982. There you go. Goodbye.
Goodbye.